Hello. I want to talk to you a little bit about boundaries and discovering what your boundaries are. And I talked about this a little in my blog post today about how your boundaries are really the foundation of everything you do. Your time management, your boundary setting, um, the choices you make and how you spend your money, your budget, everything. It all comes down to priorities. And a lot of times we let the world define our priorities for us, which is a problem because what happens when we start following priorities that aren't our own is that we can be led into resentment, we can be led into um, discouragement because we aren't going to be necessarily very good at things that we don't find important, and we may feel dominated, we may feel like we're just living a life that isn't successful, it isn't fulfilling. So I want to talk to you about how can you start to identify what your unique priorities are. And one of the things I talked about was journaling. Now, journaling is a great way to identify your priorities. If you're not a journaling type, for example, I'm an extrovert, so I like to talk things through. Sitting down with someone, talking things out really gives me some clarity. And I would invite you to go ahead and do a free phone call with me. We can do a 15-minute phone call, or you can actually schedule a coaching session. The first call with me is always free. But if you're a journaling type, or if you just want to do some journaling or have a conversation with a friend, here are some things I suggest that you think about. The first question to ask yourself is, what always gets done with ease and joy? There are definitely things in your life that you enjoy doing, that you find easy to do, that you find fulfilling, things that just aren't that big a deal. You don't think about it, you enjoy doing it, that sort of thing. And on the other flip side, there are things that you don't do without great effort and rolling the eyes and thinking, oh, is it really laundry day again? Or, whatever. And so those are two really big clues. If it's very easy and joyful for you to do something, even if it's something, that most people think of as not fun, like laundry or grocery shopping, then you should continue to do that because that's a priority in your life. For me, eating well and eating food that I've made is a priority. I really enjoy grocery shopping. So while I could outsource it and, buy my groceries online and go by and pick them up, I really actually prefer going to the grocery store. That's something that is easy for me to do. It's something I enjoy doing. Cleaning, on the other hand, is a huge effort. I have to make myself do it every time. So that's something that I really should outsource. Cleaning, keeping things neat and tidy and vacuumed is just not a priority of mine. On a slightly deeper level, in my volunteer work, I volunteer at the kids' nursery at my church because I use the kids' nursery at my church and it's a requirement. But it's not something I would ever do. As soon as my child is out of the nursery, I'm out of there too. I am just not very good with babies and small children, except for my own. That's really not a priority for me, taking care of other people's kids. And anybody at my church will tell you that's absolutely true of me. However, one thing I do enjoy doing is running the slideshow for the service. So I actually sit behind the computer and bring the lyrics up for the words and run through the PowerPoint for the sermon. And I really enjoy that because it allows me to really take in the service in a totally different way. So you can see how my priorities are reflected in my volunteering. A couple other things to think about or to journal about. What makes you giddy? What just makes you so happy that you want to do a dance or throw your hand in the air and you just can't stop smiling? Do more of that. Whatever it is, if it's baking bread, if it's baking cakes, if it is doing laundry, if it is cleaning your house, whatever makes you giddy, do that. That really is, when you get lit up inside like that, that is a sign that your talents and your passions are aligning. You want to prioritize things that are your talents and your passions. Obviously, we all have to prioritize certain parts of life that aren't going to align with our talents and passions, and that's things like brushing your teeth. I doubt very many people are passionate about brushing and flossing, but it's essential to our health. So what I'm really getting at here are sort of upper level priorities, larger priorities, priorities that affect your day-to-day decisions, but also are leading you on a trajectory towards a life that's ultimately extremely fulfilling and joy-filled. A final thought on this is, what were your hobbies when you were a child, when you were a young adult? What did you fill your free time with? What did you do when you had free time? Real, actual free time. No homework, no household chores. What did you do? That's a huge clue about what you prioritized in the past. And it can be a great way of looking at your life and helping your life lead you forward. This is also really helpful if you're confused about your career. So these are just some things to think about, journal about. The 4 questions I've talked about is what always gets done with ease and joy, what never gets done without effort, what makes you giddy inside, and what were your hobbies as a child and as a young adult. Just spend some time thinking about those questions and figuring out how they translate into overall priorities. You know, there's family, that's a priority, but then how do you take that family priority and actually make it specific to a joy-filled life for you? For me, it's about eating. Eating together is a huge priority for me. I love to shop for food. I love to plan menus. I love to cook. I don't necessarily love to do those things at 5 p.m. with a screaming toddler, but I do prioritize those things. And eating a meal together as a family every day is a huge priority for me, but not necessarily for someone else. For someone else, what may be the huge priority is that your family exercises together. You all go for bike rides together. Some people may think, yes, riding our bikes together, what a wonderful activity. And I think, oh, I'd be so hot and sweaty and sticky. So you can see how you start with answering these questions, and then you build them into bigger priorities. And once you've created these bigger priorities, it helps you to make choices and set boundaries. I'm not going to answer the phone during dinner because dinner is a priority for me. You know, that's just one way that I take the priority and bring it into boundaries and bring it into setting time management, that sort of thing. So I hope this is helpful, and good luck journaling.